his way is to befriend them, to soften them up, make them feel like he cares about them, and then he goes out there and physically tries to destroy them.
I don't go on the court expecting, to make friends. I go out there to play the game of basketball like I know how to play.
Michael Jordan is always on the lookout for extra motivation. In January, Jeff Van Gundy did just that. Not surprisingly, Michael would burn the Knicks all game long.
18 points in the first quarter for Michael. Mike with 27 in the first half.
An NBA season high 51 points left Van Gundy and the Knicks speechless.
Mr. Van Gundy has a Jordan headache right now.
Today, Michael returns to Broadway. Now it's time for the New York players to do the talking.
This is the NBA on NBC. The game of the week. Today, it's the Chicago Bulls versus the New York Knicks.
The usual capacity crowd, better than 19,000 turning out. It's been the hottest ticket in town, and they're here to see the two hottest teams in the NBA. The Chicago Bulls at 53-7. They've won 11 of the last 12. The New York Knicks 46-16. They have the second best record a half game in front of Miami and Detroit. The Knicks with 6 straight wins, 7 of their last 8. It sets the stage for one of the NBA's most intense matchups. Hi everybody, I'm Marv Albert along with Matt Gukas, and Matt, watching Michael Jordan over the years as well as he has played in his storied 12-year career, he seems to move to yet another level when he goes up against the New York Knicks, particularly here in games at Madison Square Garden.
Marv, this rivalry really gets his blood pumping, and no matter what the Knicks try to do, it just doesn't work. All the Jordan rules, all the physical play, Michael just keeps bringing it on, posting numbers in the 40s, in the 50s. But for the Bulls to win today, Michael is going to need a lot more production from his teammates.
Now, the Knicks have been getting outstanding all-around play in recent weeks, but still it all revolves around Patrick Ewing, and as of late, he has been in the midst of a magnificent run.
Well, Patrick is surrounded by a lot of talent, and that makes him even more effective. Now, in his last 8 games, he has been exceptional, taking good shots inside and out, scoring at crunch time, and defending as well. And here's how most teams view Patrick Ewing in the scouting report. Likes to face up at 17 feet, which takes away the double team. Always ready to come block a shot, and though he's become a better passer off the dribble, that's where he'll turn it over. And Patrick is ready for this one. He's got his game going, and he wants to show it off.
All right, so coming up, it's the Chicago Bulls and the New York Knicks from the Garden in New York. We'll be back in a moment with the introduction of the starting lineup. It is a brisk 36-degree day in Manhattan. We're back at Madison Square Garden, where the Knicks have won 26 and lost 5. They have won their last 7 straight at home and 22 of the last 23. At one point, they won 15 in a row here at home. We're set for the introduction of the starting lineups. Let's go to the public address and Mike Wolszewski.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena. Tonight's game features the Chicago Bulls and your New York Knicks. The head coach of the Bulls is Phil Jackson. The assistants, Bill Cartwright, Frank Hamlin, Jimmy Rogers, and Tex Ritter. The trainer is Chip Schaefer, assisted by John League-Badowski. Now for the Bulls starting lineup. At guard at 6'6" from Miami of Ohio, number 9, Ron Harper. At guard at 6'6" from North Carolina, number 23, Michael Jordan. At forward at 6'7" from Central Arkansas, number 33, Scottie Pippen. At forward at 6'8" from Southeast Oklahoma State, number 91, Dennis Rodman. And at center at 7'2" from New Mexico, number 13, Luke Longley. The coaches for your New York Knicks are Jeff Van Gundy, Don Shady, Brendan Malone, Tom Thibodeau, and Jeff Knicks. The trainers are Mike Saunders, Tim Walsh, and Greg Brittenham. And now, please welcome your New York Knicks. At guard at 6'3" from Boise State, number 1, Chris Childs. At guard at 6'6" from Tennessee, number 20, Allen Houston. At forward at 6'7" from the UNLV, number 2, Larry Johnson. At forward at 6'9" from Virginia Union, number 34, Tri-Captain Charles Oakley. And at center at 7 feet from Georgetown, number 33, Tri-Captain Patrick Ewing.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, Chris Childs was to be a game-time decision. The usual Knicks starting point guard has missed the past 5 games with a bruised left wrist. The decision was made, and Chris Childs is in the starting lineup. Childs played very well in that earlier meeting against the Knicks in Chicago back in January. 18 points, 6 assists, and also got into a verbal dispute with Michael Jordan. As always, we're joined on the sideline by the Dean, Ahmad Rashad. Let's check in with Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Marv. The Garden is rocking, and the reason is because this is a big game. Now, I have talked to players on both teams, and I've thrown out the theory that this being a game where they're trying to send a message or it has playoff implications. It has none of that. I talked to Larry Johnson before the game. He said this is the ultimate pickup game played in the ultimate place. It's Patrick and his boys against Michael and his boys to see who is the best today. And I've got a little bit of excitement in me myself because it's fired up here. And I told him that seeing that this is a pickup game, I got next. Marv?
All right, thank you, Ahmad. The Bulls have won the last 2 and 7 of the last 9 against the Knicks. And here at the Garden, Knicks have won 6 of the last 8 in regular season play. The officials, Hugh Evans, Nolan Fine, and Scott Foster.
In talking with Jeff Van Gundy a little earlier, that the biggest concerns that he has for his ball club is the rebounding area. Oddly enough, the Knicks are the best defensive rebounding team in the league, but they're going against the best offensive rebounding team in the league, and that man Dennis Rodman certainly does a job there. It'll be Charles Oakley's job to try to keep him off the boards as much as possible. And also, against Chicago, you've got to take care of the ball. If you turn that ball over up at the top of the key area, there is no defense for that. They turn it into an easy basket. But as always, against Chicago, the tough part is trying to score.
And as you may have noticed, Dennis Rodman with the multicolored look. Dennis back from his 3rd suspension of the season, returned Friday night against Indiana and hauled down 18 rebounds. Knicks control the opening tip. The Knicks with 46 wins, just 1 shy of their total for all of last season when they went 47 and 35. And a chant of "Let's go Knicks" at the start as Patrick Ewing shoots over Luke Longley.
That's the way the Bulls like to play defense on post players. See if Luke can handle the one-on-one, make them take shots before a big man like Ewing gets it going, and then you have to double team.
Scottie Pippen has been on a tear, trying to hit Michael Jordan. Jordan
able to recover. Jordan at the start being guarded by Allen Houston and goes to the jumper. Michael Jordan ties the game at 2. Here's Chris Childs for Larry Johnson, who tees up the 3. And Rodman with his first rebound.
Now, Larry has been shooting the three-point shot and all shots very well of late. That one was a brick, but you notice the odd matchup there. Rodman playing the small forward, Larry Johnson out on the floor.
Pippen met by Ewing, and he drew the foul on the fake. Foul committed by Patrick Ewing.
Well, Patrick getting good position on Luke Longley. Just a little bit of a fake move there by Jordan to come and bother him, but by Patrick just moving that shoulder into Longley, creating space for that short little jump shot.
And Michael Jordan will get many different looks from the Knicks, as he did in Chicago in January, and it did not matter, and Jordan hits on his first 2.
And Allen Houston got a little windburn there as Michael just beat him easily with the first step, the quick dribble, and Allen Houston left in the dust.
4-2 Chicago. Here's Houston. He went to the scoop. It appeared that he was going to unleash the jump shot, but he changed his mind while in flight, and the game is tied at 4.
And the Knicks have to be encouraged by that. The fact that Michael's already hit his first 2 jumpers, but Houston going right back at him.
And Jordan again. 3 out of 3 from Michael Jordan here at the start.
Well, Michael told us earlier today when you asked him about the scoring big against the Knicks, especially here at Madison Square Garden, he said, well, I like to feel it out. I like to see how my teammates are playing. I like to see what is needed. He's not wasting any time.
And he loves to play here in New York, referring to it as the Mecca of basketball. And nice fake by Houston. Jordan able to recover. 6-4, the Bulls on top. Shot clock at 7. Ewing fouled.
Well, Michael's so comfortable with a jump shot this time, actually backing down on Allen Houston to get a little space for himself there to take the fadeaway shot, and then Houston trying to get up on Jordan and make him a driver. That's the strategy for the Knicks today, to make Michael go to the basket where they can maybe put a little body on him, but that time forcing the jump shot. So right now Allen Houston thoroughly confused on what to do with Jordan.
Foul on Longley, and it was called a non-shooting foul. Ewing again going at Longley, and once again he draws the foul. That's 2 on Luke Longley.
Patrick is just so comfortable against Luke Longley. When he faces up at about 17, 18 feet, he'll take that shot if Luke Lee gives a little bit of ground. Other than that, he can put it on the floor and beat him off the dribble. And of course, the Bulls will be ready to come down on about that second dribble to try to knock it loose.
Patrick Ewing coming off a season-high 39 against Boston. On Friday night, the preceding game, he had 36 against Toronto. He has been struggling at the line, though, recently. Free throw shooting has been off. He's now 32 for his last 52 at the foul line. The Knicks came back from 20 the other night to beat the Celtics. 19 straight wins for the Knicks over the Celtics. Down by 20 in the first half, and down by 15 at halftime. The 13th time this season that they've come back from a double-digit deficit. Bulls 6 and the Knicks 5. Hopper pulls it back out. Shot clock at 4. Nice move by Luke Longley. And the Bulls lead 8-5.
Generally, the Bulls will go inside early to Longley to get some offense for him before he gets into foul trouble. He's in semi-trouble now with 2.
Chris Childs' first attempt is off. Oakley with the save, but he stepped out of bounds.
A nice movement in the triangle offense by the Bulls. Lots of back picks, lots of cutting, and then just a quick, hard move to the baseline as Patrick Ewing was fooled thinking Longley would go to the middle.
And the Bulls might have come out and hit their first 4 shots. Jordan hit 3, and Longley a moment ago hit 1. Longley behind the back, and may have surprised Rodman. Ball was deflected out. Last touch by Oakley.
To say the least, surprised that Luke would be able to make that pass on the move. and Dennis never really looking to be that offensive minded, but he's going to have to be for the Bulls, especially while Tony Kukoc is out. In fact, a lot of the Bulls are going to have to pick it up at the offensive end.
Yes, Tony Kukoc out with that injured right foot. Rodman with the rebound to keep it alive. So the Bulls with their first missed shot. Hopper played tightly by Childs. Here's Jordan over Houston. Oh, he is on fire. Michael Jordan extends to a 10-5 Bulls lead. He has hit 4 of 4 all jump shots. Houston on a quick release. And last touched by the Knicks. The Chicago Bulls in their last game Friday night at home beat Indiana 104-96. That made it 23 straight wins. At home, Jordan was game high with 38. Pippen at 24. And a foul, a hold on Houston.
Well, Michael Jordan on a couple of occasions now has checked the shot clock. Just there he is looking at it at the other end of the floor to see what he had. He had 10 seconds, plenty of time, but when you've got the jumper going like that and you got a little bit of daylight, why not let it go? And on the next play, Allen Houston got up on Jordan to try to make him a driver and committed the foul.
Battle between Ewing and Longley. Oakley over to help, but the help came too late.
Usually the Knicks are excellent at that weak side help. Charles Oakley was there, but very slow, and just not enough lift to get up there and knock that ball out of bounds or knock the body very hard.
So the Bulls are off to the quick start. It leads to a New York timeout with 7:45 remaining. In this first quarter, Jordan 4 for 4, 8 points. Longley has 4. Bulls 12, the Knicks 5. Well, of that earlier meeting against the Knicks in Chicago, Michael Jordan lit up the Knicks for 51 points. And you may recall Jordan lashing out verbally at Knicks coach Jeff Van Gundy. Michael upset that Van Gundy had said that Jordan uses friendships and stature to con some of his opponents. We talked about this earlier with Michael and asked, is this still ongoing in terms of the unhappiness about those statements?
It's kind of downplayed a little bit, but it's never forgotten. I think, you know, when you hear certain things like that, you put them in your memory bank and you use them whenever you feel you have the need to. And, you know, so I hadn't really forgotten it, but I moved on past that. And we're in a whole different game, different focus, you know, different situation in some respects. So, I mean, to draw on something that old at this particular time, at the beginning of the game, is meaningless for me. I think I've totally forgotten about it at this particular time.
Well, I think the one thing that Michael will not forget or forgive was the con man comment by Jeff Van Gundy. Other than that, he realized that Jeff was trying to motivate his own team, and he respects him, of course, for that.
7.5 remaining in the first quarter, and the Knicks are trailing 12-5. Larry Johnson over Dennis Rodman. Rebounded by Bill Wennington, who came on following the timeout, replacing Luke Longley, who had picked up 2 early fouls. Hopper passed on the shot. Checking with Jordan. Nice lead for Pippen. And Wennington able to recover. New 24 for the Bulls. The matchup is Childs on Pippen. Ewing came over to help, and then Wennington, the open man, took advantage.
And Charles Oakley, the big forward, out on Ron Harper at 6'4", but the Knicks could never get together and communicate and find proper matchups, and that's why Bill Wennington was left alone.
14-5 Chicago, 8-0 run by the Bulls. Oakley, Charles Oakley making contact with Scottie Pippen, who felt that he was fouled.
Well, the Knicks have a couple of things that they would like to go to right now. They think Larry Johnson can beat Dennis Rodman off the dribble. He hasn't done it yet. And they think Oakley, who's not a post player, can go inside from time to time against Pippen like he did on the last play.
Oh, Jordan off the fake. That's his first miss. And the crowd reacting. All right, here's Johnson posting. And he drew the foul.
Well, the Knicks were all messed up defensively, and Bill Wennington is pointing out where everybody is. Keep an eye on him, as nobody's going to play him, as Patrick Ewing going over for the double team. No rotation whatsoever, as Charles Oakley got caught on a smaller player. He should have been the man to rotate to Bill Wennington, who normally comes up with big games here in Madison Square Garden. You'll remember the one of Michael's first year back, which is almost a 2-year anniversary now, where he hit the game winner the night that Michael had 55. And last year in a playoff game when Dennis Rodman was driving as a playmaker and found Bill Wennington for 2 open 8-footers, which were crucial in that game.
Well, Bill Wennington, very familiar with this Madison Square Garden court after spending his college days at St. John's. Rodman back for Wennington. And again, the Bulls on the loose ball. Deflected out, though, this time. Last touch by Rodman. But terrific hustle by Dennis Rodman, who never gives up on the play.
And to show you how good Dennis Rodman is at that particular play, Charles Oakley did an outstanding job of boxing him out, and he still beat him.
Oakley, off the drive, is called for the offensive foul.
Well, Charles Oakley knows he has his hands full. Even though he lost his footing there, he's going to get the body in and pushes off, and felt he had Rodman out of the play. But Rodman, who was so slithery, able just to get away and get out to the corner, which is where he picks up most of those loose balls.
Bulls with a 14-7 lead. Oakley with the rebound. So Jordan hit his first 4. He's missed his last 2. Knicks have not been able to get going here in this first quarter. Johnson backing Pippen. Larry Johnson. Larry Johnson, who has picked up his play after a disappointing start, cuts it to a 5-point Chicago advantage. Now Jordan posting up, leads to the illegal defense call, and that is the first against the Knicks.
Well, that was Charles Oakley looking to get down into the lane to protect on a cutter, and a good defensive play. Unfortunately, with the rules such as they are, it's turned into an illegal play, but that's good defense no matter how you cut it.
So Pippen able to brush by Ewing. Houston doing a nice job here on Jordan. Then he's able to cut to the left, but cannot hit. And a loose ball foul against the Bulls.
And you're right, Marv. Houston did an outstanding job of getting into the body of Michael Jordan, which is what the coaching staff of the Knicks want, because they feel Michael is primarily a jump shooter now, so make him a driver. That's easy to say when you're on the coaching staff. When you're out on the floor trying to keep a guy that quick from beating you up 1-2 quick dribbles, as Michael did, almost impossible.
Foul was called on Wennington, his first. Ewing. Well, the Bulls came with the double team, but Ewing was able to make the move, and it cuts it to a 3-point Chicago lead.
And Allen, Houston getting words of encouragement from Patrick Ewing on that play.
Coming up on 4 minutes remaining in the first. Rodman again able to keep it alive, trying to call for time, and could not as he lands in the stands, and then applauds the official, Scott Foster, for the call.
I thought Dennis was going to do one of his layout dives on this one. This time, once again, Charles Oakley had position, and he just had to try to tap it to himself, but Dennis had visions of diving headlong, as he did in Chicago about a week ago.
Chris Childs has missed the last 5 games with a sprained wrist. Back in the lineup, Charlie Ward had been the starter and had been playing well. But the Knicks like the toughness of Chris Childs against the Chicago Bulls. Crowd wanted to travel. Shot clock at 4. Here's Pippen. And that is his first field goal. He missed his first 3 shots.
Well, the stick-to-itiveness of Scottie Pippen on the first foray into the lane. Larry Johnson did an excellent job at 6'7", about 250 pounds, of getting low, bending his knees, sliding along to cut off the drive of Pippen. Then he relaxed just a little bit, stood up straight. Pippen got it back.
Allen Houston. Nice pick set for Houston. Could not put it down, and miscommunication gives the ball back to the Knicks.
Dennis saying, he can't believe that Scottie was not able to handle this pass. He thought he just gently bowled it out to a nice follow through and everything, but Scottie Pippen evidently took his eye off it for just a second and lost it.
First turnover committed by Chicago. They take a timeout. 3:08 remaining in the first. The Bulls by 5. Back at Madison Square Garden, Chicago with a 16-11 lead on the New York Knicks. Always an impressive array of personalities on hand here at the Garden. Woody Allen and Sun Yi. Actor Matthew Modine, who has been a Garden regular. Same for Tom Brokaw, NBC News. Peter Boyle, clapping on cue. And from Chicago, I asked Gene Siskel, is he following the Bulls around on this road trip? And Spike Lee, who was at the earlier Bulls-Knicks game at the United Center. Charlie Ward has come on, replacing Chris Childs. Houston for 3. Yes. So the Bulls now lead 16-14.
Michael Jordan thought that Dennis Rodman was going to need a little help against Larry Johnson, and he backed off, and that's why Allen Houston was so wide open.
And the foul, a hold from behind, called on Houston. That is his second, and it brings John Starks off the bench. So Allen Houston replaced by Starks, who hears it from the crowd. Well, you can go online at NBC.com/sports for full NBA coverage this week. An in-depth report on the Bulls. Many people think, yes, they do think that they're on the way to another championship. We'll take a look at whether Chicago is beatable. And if so, who are the teams that can do it? Plus, complete recaps from all of today's early games. Foul on John Starks and a technical foul on Starks. So John Starks wasting no time getting to the flow of the game.
And the Bulls wasting no time at going inside with Michael Jordan against John Starks right off the side out of bounds play. And John was just a little shove in the back to push Michael out. That was called quickly. The officials are watching all the inside play very, very closely. You're allowed to have a bent arm in this situation, which John does, but he is using his whole body just to shove Jordan out on it. He felt that it was a little bit on the ticky-tack side, saying he had that arm bent. But by going so hard at the young official, the veteran referee, Hugh Evans, coming over to call the technical, but Scott Fisher had it as well.
Randy Brown has checked in for the first time. He's been a major contributor off the bench for the Chicago Bulls, an excellent defensive player. Here's Ewing putting moves on Wennington. Won't count. Traveling violation.
A pretty nice defensive job there by Bill Wennington after Patrick Ewing felt the initial pressure. That's when Wennington backed up a little bit and it forced Patrick Ewing, who can be very turnover prone, to pick him up and lay him down. Easy walking call.
Scottie Pippen handling. Brown and Jordan in the backcourt. Pippen, Rodman, Wennington up front. Brown shaking off Ward, got the step. And Rodman able to counter that rebound.
2 minutes.
Just under 2 minutes to go in this first quarter. Pippen off the fake. And it brings the whistle. When Nolan Fine, the foul is called on the Knicks. It is on Ward, his first.
Well, Dennis Rodman always around the basket, always relentlessly going after the basketball, many times just trying to tip it away from harm's way or the opponent and try to tip it for himself. And there was that bowling pass to Scottie Pippen that was mishandled. And believe it or not, Charles Oakley working very hard to keep his body on Dennis Rodman, and he did, but Dennis Rodman just finds a way and finds an opening to just get a hand on the ball and keep it alive, and that time he secured his second offensive rebound. But this has to be a lot of fun for the Bulls right now, facing this kind of defense, and it is very good defense being played by the Knicks right now as far as playing off the dribble, bumping cutters, because I'm sure the Bulls don't see this night in, night out.
Now some pressure on the ball. Pippen hanging back. They look to double up on Ward. Bulls will go with the pressure sporadically. Buck Williams, who just checked in. Buck Williams has provided a lift for the Knicks right throughout the season. 22nd timeout is taken by Phil Jackson. Minute 34 to go in this first quarter, and obviously Phil is upset. Bulls lead by 2.
Well, Phil very unhappy with Randy Brown on this particular play. He felt that Randy wasn't aware of what kind of defense they were in after that free throw situation. And when you break down defensively that far away from the basket and then one pass over the top, now you have what in effect is a 2-on-1 fast break situation. A nice bounce pass for Buck to finish the play.
The Bulls started out by hitting their first 4 shots, 3 by Jordan, 1 by Longley, but since then 4 of 13 from the field, and the Bulls now lead 18-16. Bulls at one stretch led by 9. They're up 14-5. Steve Kerr has come on, replacing Michael Jordan. Pippen being played by Buck Williams. Wennington. Rebound handled by Ward. Charlie Ward, an excellent rebounder for his height and position. Nice pass by Ward. And Buck Williams with his second straight successful drive, and he's tied the game at 18.
Well, Rodman lingered in the backcourt to try to pick up a steal on Charlie Ward. Charlie took advantage of it to keep his head up and find the open man.
Pippen eluding 2 Knicks. First Johnson and then Starks, but could not convert. Just under 1 minute left in the first quarter. Oakley, and a loose ball foul. Hugh Evans says stay right here. It is against Chicago.
Well, Dennis Rodman's man is Buck Williams, but because he stayed in the backcourt, Bill Wennington was caught right in the middle between his man, Charles Oakley, and Buck Williams, and that perfect strike by Charlie Ward to set Buck Williams in for the easy one.
Scottie Pippen upset. Scottie off to a slow start. 1 of 5 from the field and 2 personal fouls.
And the reason why Scottie's upset, first of all, he didn't think he committed a foul, and the guy he was tangled up with, yeah, there it is Larry Johnson. Oakley is a better free throw shooter than Larry Johnson, who's struggling a bit from the line at 68%.
And 0 for 2 tonight.
There it is, as over the years, Larry Johnson, when he was in more of a scoring mode with the Charlotte Hornets, you are getting more free throws. Now that Larry's only taking 9 shots a game from the field, doesn't even get to the line as much as he used to, but where he has really picked it up and helped the Knicks is at the defensive end, and his passing has been sharp.
Jason Caffey has come on for the first time, and he has played well, in particular with the many absences of Dennis Rodman. Brown, Randy Brown, ties the game at 20 with a half-minute left in this first quarter. Ward and Starks at the guards, Johnson, Oakley, and Williams up front. Here's Oakley popping it back out. Johnson eluding Rodman, and then stripped. Final seconds of the quarter. Steve Kerr pulls it up. Pippen with the lead for Caffey, broken up by Ward. We're down to 1 3/10 seconds left in the first.
A terrific pass by Scottie Pippen. He had to float it to get it inside to Jason Caffey, but an equally fine defensive play. Charlie Ward not quitting on the play, coming from behind and knocking loose.
Rodman's inbounds to. That's the end of the first quarter. Fast start by the Bulls, and then they faded. Michael Jordan, 4 of 7 from the field, 9 points. Patrick Ewing has hit 2 of 2. He has 5. The Knicks and the Bulls tied at 20. You are watching the NBA on NBC.
This is the NBA on NBC. The game of the week.
Ahmad Rashad back at Madison Square Garden, and Marv, you and Matt had been talking about how Michael normally at the beginning of a game sort of sets back and lets the other team, his other teammates do some certain things and really doesn't take charge. Well, he told me earlier that the key to this game was to make sure that the Bulls could withstand the Knicks' initial charge because it was a big game. It was very exciting here, and they would come out and play it very strong. So Michael coming out being a very assertive and shooting 4 of 7 in the first quarter, unlike he normally does in other games. I'm sure that was the reason for that, trying to keep his team involved in the first quarter. Marv?
All right, Ahmad, and the Bulls got off to the good start. They led 14-5, but over the last 8.5 minutes, the Knicks able to turn it around, outscoring the Bulls 15-6. Chicago shot 9 of 21 from the field in the first quarter, and the Knicks settled down and went 8 of 15. Buck Williams jumping out on the switch on Jordan, who is back on the floor. Rebounded by Oakley.
Well, everybody's going to get a crack at Michael. Allen Houston got the start. Looks like Larry Johnson will play him for a while.
Here's Charlie Ward. So the Knicks take a 22-20 lead.
Phil Jackson saying before the game a couple of big concerns. Of course, always Patrick Ewing with the Knicks, and they don't want him fresh at the end of the game, but he's really concerned about the Knicks bench. People like Charlie Ward, Starks, and also Buck Williams.
Yes, the bench has done the job throughout the season. Open shot for Starks. Yes, it's a 3 for John Starks. And the Knicks now lead 25-20. Bulls going with Kerr, Brown, and Jordan. Jordan is being guarded by Larry Johnson, who occasionally guarded him in the game in Chicago. Foul is called. Foul on Johnson called for the push. That's his first.
Well, the Bulls a little bit slow getting back in transition defense, and everybody getting sucked back into the lane. John Starks wisely pulling up behind that arc to nail the shot. This is the bench of the Knicks. John Starks having an outstanding year, a legitimate candidate for 6th Man of the Year. The rookie John Wallace out of Syracuse has also had some good moments for New York throughout the first 3 quarters of the season.
And the Knicks also got good play out of the rookie from Kentucky, Walter McCarty, the other night against the Boston Celtics. Kerr's pass off the mark. The Chicago Bulls right at the bottom of the rankings in terms of turnovers. The Knicks lead the NBA, better than 18 per game. Chicago committing only 13 a game. That is the second fewest. Only Detroit with less turnovers, and that's the second by Chicago.
The Knicks taking care of the basketball as well with only 3, and it's evidence because the Bulls, no fast break points yet, and that's a big key anytime you play Chicago, and only 4 points off their second shot opportunities. They're the 2 key areas Jeff Van Gundy is worried about.
And a foul against the Bulls. It is on Jason Caffey.
And Michael Jordan trying to body up on John Starks, and Jason Caffey trying to help out a little bit, stepping out to bump the screener, but stepped out with that elbow in clear view of the officials.
Starks using the pick. Rebounded by Oakley. Recovered by Williams. Starks whipping by Brown. And the foul.
A nice, strong, hard move by John Starks, pulling up, shooting a little teardrop that he learned from Mark Jackson. This one from the baseline. And both Buck Williams and Charles Oakley really asserting themselves right now, just coming into the basket with reckless abandon, just trying to keep the ball alive or get that offensive rebound. And on that last one, Oakley's legs were taken out from under him by Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman called for his first 7-0 run by the Knicks. In fact, they've outscored the Bulls 7-0 in the second quarter. And going back to the first quarter, it's a 22-6 run since the Bulls got off to the quick start. So Oakley completes a 3-point Knick play, and it's the Knicks 28 and the Bulls 20. Here's some pressure being shown, light pressure by the Knicks. Now they drop back. Michael Jordan, hot at the start, hit his first 4, but he's missed his last 4. 2 minutes gone by in the second. Marv Albert, Matt Dukas, and Ahmad Rashad from the Garden. Jordan for 3, rebounded by Caffey, and he is fouled.
Dennis Rodman in a collision with Chris Childs. Randy Brown over to break it up in a hurry. Foul called on Buck Williams. We'll be right back. Look at downtown Manhattan, about 15 minutes past 6 here in New York. John Starks has often been the catalyst, having terrific season. He's done it coming off the bench, and you saw the numbers when John has been able to step in this evening. How that has turned things around.
Well, with the combination of Allen Houston and John Starks, you get fire and ice, and it's John's job to come off that bench to energize the Knicks and ignite things, and he did that right away with a foul, then a technical foul, but bounced back nicely with a couple of hoops to get this 8-0 run going.
And usually it has been John Starks who has been on the floor for the Knicks in the fourth quarter. Allen Houston opened up against Michael Jordan, picked up 2 fouls, and picked up that second foul right after he hit a 3-pointer, so Starks made his appearance. Here's Jason Caffey at the free throw line in his second season out of Alabama, first-round draft pick last year. So that ends the 8-0 run by the Knicks. The Knicks 28 and the Bulls 21. Knicks now have 3 guards on the floor with Ward, Childs, and Starks, along with Oakley and Williams. Ward passing on the open shot. Buck Williams. And the Bucks out by Michael Jordan against his one-time Chicago Bulls teammate Charles Oakley.
Well, normally with the Bulls struggling offensively, they go to Michael Jordan to get something going towards the basket.
And Michael Jordan able to hit. He had missed his previous 5 shots. Jordan now being guarded by Childs.
That was not quite towards the basket, but that has become Michael's patented post-up move. Down on that right block, that little fadeaway. He feels so comfortable letting that one fly.
The Knicks lead is 5. Oakley. Charles Oakley with his second field goal. Knicks 30 and the Bulls 23.
Oh, outstanding execution by Childs on the pick and pop play, taking that dribble an extra 2 or 3 quick to make that defense converge, finding the open Oakley.
Bad pass by Caffey could not be handled by Jordan. Starks played by Kerr, got picked off by Williams. And back comes Pippen. The Chicago Bulls have won 11 of their last 12 games. Pulling his way and rebounded by Starks.
A bad shot by Caffey. They don't mind Caffey being offensive minded when it's in his comfort zone in and around the basket. That was a force.
John Starks with the 3. He has the touch. He now has 8. John Starks did not play in that earlier game against the Bulls in Chicago, sidelined by injury. Dennis Rodman also sat it out in the midst of a suspension. Knicks have opened up a 10-point lead. Kerr passing on the shot, the diving steal by Oakley. 3-on-2, Starks for Ward. And the Bulls want to talk it over.
Well, there's Chris Childs making that move off the pick of Oakley, drawing the defense towards him in the lane, and that left Charles Oakley, a good 18-foot jump shooter, wide open from the baseline. And then that soft pass, but nothing will get the crowd up roaring in the Garden faster than Charles Oakley diving on the floor, knocking the ball loose, setting the fast break going away as Patrick Ewing loved it.
Welcome back to Madison Square Garden in New York. The Knicks with a 12-point lead on Chicago. We've been discussing turnovers throughout this first half. Matt, as the coaches like to say, you want to show respect for the basketball. Well, over the course of the season, the Knicks lead the NBA in turnovers, better than 18 per game, but they've been showing that respect here this evening.
Well, taking care of it today against a very good defensive team in the Chicago Bulls. Not so much with steals, as they have been in past years, but they do have good, quick hands and will knock a lot of balls loose, however.
The Knicks with a 30-9 run that goes back to the first quarter. After that explosive start by Chicago. Scottie Pippen has been quiet. Pippen going glass. Scottie Pippen has not had many strong games against the Knicks. Knicks feel they can pound him around. They feel that he does get affected by the physical play. Here's Ward for three. So it's the Knicks 38. And the Bulls 25.
Well, you go back to the early Pat Riley days here in New York, and the book on Pippen was to bang him, pop him every chance you get. He has a size mismatch on John Starks inside right now.
Here's Kerr. A three for Kerr on Starks, and Pippen involved in a collision. Looked like Pippen threw Starks to the floor. Now, these two go back several years. Remember that leg whip attempt by John Starks on Scottie Pippen, and Pippen, frustrated, just shoved Starks, so the technical called on Pippen, and John Starks will shoot the tee.
I think Scottie realizes he got off to a very slow start in this game. Now coming off the bench, trying to get it going, did hit a field goal, got double teamed in the post against Starks again, threw it out for the Kerr three-pointer, but in Scottie's effort to try to get to the offensive board, John Starks is going to try to keep away. There's John Starks at the top of your screen doing a good box-out job. Pippen not giving up on the play, trying to whip around, just not only hook Starks, but hooked him to the floor.
And both Pippen and Starks have been hit with technical fouls. 6:34 remaining in this first half. Let's check in with Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad?
All right, Marv, during that last timeout, Phil Jackson very upset of his team, mainly because they weren't scoring any points. His offense was totally out of sync. Bad shot selection, which was leading to runouts by the Knicks. He said they just need to settle down and get back in their offense and get some points. Marv?
All right, thanks, Ahmad. Here's Ward penetrating. Luke Longley back on the floor, able to handle that rebound. Jordan beating Childs. Michael Jordan coming up short. And back comes Childs. Again, the Knicks look to run. A bad pass. Childs saying, my fault, as he went to the air and had nowhere to go.
I thought it was kind of a risky move starting Chris Childs in this game, having not played for 5 games, but until that pass, he has done a fine job.
We are halfway through the second quarter, and the Knicks are up by 11. Jordan with a series of fakes, fouled by Childs. He was hacked, and Jordan will go to the line. A reminder, next Saturday, join NBC as Mark O'Meara leads a stellar list of entries. That includes Tom Lehman, Payne Stewart, Nick Price, John Daly, and others. The Honda Classic. That'll be next Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time right here on NBC. Michael Jordan, 1 of 1 at the line. As you see, hit his first 4, 1 of 7 since then.
Now Childs going to the bench right now, but the smallish guards of the Knicks very effective, as Scottie Pippen had difficult time on the last couple of sequences trying to stay with Charlie Ward beating him off the dribble.
So Allen Houston is back. The Knicks 39 and the Bulls 30. Second of 4 meetings between these two clubs. Bulls won in Chicago 88-87, led by as many as 17 in that game. Early fourth quarter, the Knicks able to come back, although you never had the feeling that they could win it. The final score more for cosmetic purposes when you talk about a 1-point game, as Jordan hit for the 51. Here's Houston for 3. Just did beat the 24, and Rodman able to come up with that loose ball. 5:20 remaining in this first half. Jordan posting up, setting up Kerr for 3. Yes! Steve Kerr has not been shooting well recently, which is most unusual for Steve, but he has been able to hammer down consecutive 3-point shots, and it cuts it to a 6-point Knick lead. Now Jeff Van Gundy takes a timeout with 4:59 to go in this first half The Knicks lead is now 6.
Well, whenever you play the Bulls, you know Michael Jordan is getting his points. You try to shut down the other people, and you certainly don't want to leave Steve Kerr that wide open for threes. I don't care how poor he's been shooting them lately. He's going to make most of those.
Bob, Pat Riley also expecting that Dan Marley will return come playoff time. So Bob chatting with Miami Heat coach, former coach of the New York Knicks, Pat Riley, his successor, Jeff Van Gundy. And today, the one-year anniversary to the day of his first victory as an NBA head coach. Took over from Don Nelson, lost to the Sixers in Philadelphia, and then a year ago here in New York, the Knicks beat the Bulls in a stunning blowout, 104-72. That stunned Van Gundy, too.
And Barb, if you'll remember, the Bulls wore their black uniforms in that game, and that was the last time they wore them the rest of the season.
39-33, the Knicks with the lead. Ward with the steal, took it out of the hands of Kerr, but then Kerr able to get it back, deflecting to Rodman. Here's Kerr. I think he was surprised that he found himself so wide open, then able to hit the short jumper over Patrick Ewing. So the Knicks, who led by as many as 13, now lead by only 4. In a quiet first half for Patrick Ewing. Not so for John Starks, who now has 11. Ewing has taken only 2 shots. 2 of the Knicks' 29 shots. Knicks lead 41-35 as we come up on 4 minutes left in this first half. Longley for Jordan, wide open. Starks able to save that outlet and met by Jordan. Ewing off the spin. Yes. Well, Patrick Ewing has got a long time between field goals. His first 2 were in the early moments, and he extends to an 8-point Knick lead.
And you had to know the first time he was going to touch it, he was going to do anything he could to get one up, to get his feel back again after not getting much play for most of his first half.
Shot clock at 5. Pippen for 3. Yes. So Scottie Pippen showing some signs. And the Bulls have hit 3 of 5 from downtown. Knicks 43 and the Bulls 38. Knicks staying with the 3 guards, Ward, Starks, and Houston, along with Buck Williams and Patrick Ewing. Luke Longley playing with 2 fouls. Ewing going at him, and a foul is called. Foul on Rodman.
Well, John Stark getting some baseline screens. He's feeling it. He has the hot hand. He's going to shoot it every time he touches it. He has an option there to throw it in Patrick Ewing, but when you're shooting as well as John right now, you got to take that shot. This would have been a good opportunity for the Bulls to come down and double on Patrick, but they probably didn't realize that he has only taken, that was his 3rd shot in this ballgame. On this last possession for Patrick, Scottie Pippen was trying to get Luke Longley to shade him towards his left, which is where Scottie Pippen was standing, to give him some help. But Longley let Patrick beat him with his strong hand going to the right.
And the foul was on Longley, not Rodman. That's 3 on Luke. And he's replaced by Bill Wennington. Patrick Ewing to the free throw line.
And Buck Williams has gone to the bench, but he did an exceptional job of blocking out on Dennis Rodman. He just put the body into him and held him tight as Rodman unable to move. And you don't see that very often. And then we saw Phil Jackson talking to Luke Longley coming out of the game about his defensive play so far.
Dennis Rodman, uncontested, swinging the ball, lost it. And the Knicks will get it back. Here's another look.
Well, Dennis Rodman had this one counted in the column. We've seen a bowling pass. I don't know what you call that when you get the two-hander. Maybe it's the old medicine ball roll. But Dennis is trying all different sports today with his ball handling.
The old medicine ball roll. Well, the Bulls with 15 rebounds, Knicks with 12, and Rodman with 7 of those 15. The Knicks lead is 6, just under 3 minutes to go in the first half. Here's the double on Ewing, and Kerr able to step away, and Ewing is fouled. Foul on
from Pippen. That's his third.
Well, very few teams in the NBA come from the opposite baseline to double team. The Bulls are one of the clubs that do it, mainly because Jordan and Pippen have that knack, have that feel of when to do it. Scottie Pippen was there in plenty of time, and the only thing the official Nolan Fye could be thinking there is that Pippen really didn't give Ewing enough room in his turn to the shot. Other than that, it was an outstanding defensive play.
Scottie Pippen with 8 points, 3 of 7 from the field, just 1 rebound, 2 assists, and the 3 fouls. It is 19 minutes. Patrick Ewing, a 74% free throw shooter.
Scottie Pippen coming on that baseline, which is in effect the blind side of Patrick Ewing, but getting way up into the body on the turn, the simultaneous turn of Patrick Ewing, and all the official could be thinking there is just didn't give him enough room, but it appeared Pippen was there in time.
The Knicks 46, the Bulls 38. Judd Bushler's on the floor for the first time. Bushler with Wennington and Rodman up front. Kerr and Jordan in the backcourt. Here's Jordan. Rodman with the rebound. He stole it with Oakley and Ewing standing around.
Now Michael, after making his first 4 shots, now 1 for his last 9.
Rodman with a ringer shot. Dennis Rodman taking his first shot and has a pretty good touch, but you don't see it too frequently. So Rodman cuts it to a 6-point Knick lead. Ewing foul. Beautiful timing, and Wennington upset with himself. He turned his head and he was beaten.
But the execution on pick and roll type plays for the Knicks, outstanding in this first half.
And Dennis Rodman going offensive crazy, takes another shot and draws the foul.
Well, Charles Oakley trying the one arm approach, but then just getting pushed underneath the basket by Rodman for the easy offensive rebound, and a good looking jump shot as he squared up. Nice rotation for Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman, only 60% at the line, usually has difficulty with that first free throw, but hits it here. The Knicks 48 and the Bulls 42.
We were saying earlier, with the absence of Tony Kukoc, who does so much coming off the bench for Chicago and creating offense, shots for his teammates, shots for himself, that the Bulls need offensive production from other places.
Houston and Rodman with rebound number 9. Ewing comes over to help. Here's Kerr for 3. Ewing rebound. Knicks wanted a run, but the Bulls got back. Houston for 3. Oh, Oakley able to get to it. Took it away from Rodman. And the Knicks get the new 24. 20-second timeout taken. With 1 minute left in the first half, the Knicks up by 6. Next Sunday, we hope you join NBC Sports for NBA coverage that will get underway at 12 noon Eastern. Regional action, and most of you will see the Houston Rockets go up against the Miami Heat. Others will see the New York Knicks and the new-look New Jersey Nets. Check your local listings for the games in your area. That's the NBA on NBC next Sunday, starting at the special time, 12 noon Eastern.
And on TNT this coming Tuesday, the Houston Rockets at the San Antonio Spurs.
And we hope you stay with us at halftime. Bob Costas in the studio, and we'll be chatting with the head coach of the Miami Heat, Pat Riley. That's coming up at halftime. Well, Patrick Ewing contributing here in the latter stages of the second quarter. Scored early and then sat out for a while, but he is overall now 4 of 4 for 12 points, and he has scored the last 7 Knick points.
Well, Bill Wennington trying to slide out and help on that little pick by Patrick Ewing, getting no help from behind, and the perfect alley-oop pass from Chris Childs.
Larry Johnson being played now by Judd Bushler. And Bushler using his knee from behind, and the foul is called. Chicago
is over the limit. Johnson to the line. He's 2 of 4 at the line. Phil Jackson said after the Bulls win over the Knicks back in January in Chicago that Jeff Van Gundy made a tactical error in stirring it up with Michael Jordan. A tactical error. Phil always has a way of capturing it.
Well, ironically enough, Marv, it used to be when Michael had to score or did score in the 40s, in the 50s, it meant that his teammates weren't playing particularly well or they were standing around and watching him. And many times you could steal a win from the Bulls when Michael had those big games. But since he's come back from baseball, that has really not been the case. But on that particular game, Michael getting 51, nobody else was doing much. Scottie Pippen early in that game, but nothing from anybody else after it.
The Knicks lead is 7. Jordan able to protect off that double team. Shot clock at 5. And an offensive foul. Foul committed by Steve Kerr.
That's about as close as Steve Kerr will come to a technical foul as he started to stalk the official. Actually, it was Michael Jordan's fault in this case by coming too quick before Steve Kerr was set. You saw on the left side of the screen that Steve Kerr wasn't set because Michael Jordan left it too early to set that screen up.
Now Childs playing the clock. Down to 10 on the shot clock. 5-second differential with the game clock. Oh, Wennington made contact through the shoulder into Childs. So with 11 and 6/10 seconds remaining in this first half, the Knicks back to the line with the Bulls over the limit.
Bill does not agree with that call. He would probably agree with the one where he grabbed Patrick Ewing on the same play, keeping Ewing from rolling to the basket. I guess he got 2 for 1 on the whole situation.
Chris Childs, a 79% free throw shooter, back on the floor after sitting out 5 games with the wrist injury.
Here it is on the left of your screen. You saw the right arm of Wennington hanging on to Ewing and the left one reaching out to pop Chris Child. I don't know what he was arguing about.
So the Knicks lead is now 8. And Rodman had it poked away. Starks over Jordan. And last touch by Oakley with 3 seconds remaining in the half.
This is when the Bulls usually run their home run play, the long pass to the top of the key, and then a pitch back to a wingman. And it looks like Jordan's going to be the top of the key man.
And Rodman, an excellent passer, fires on the hop, picked off by Ewing. Here's Ewing going all the way. 1/10 of a second to go in the half. And Patrick Ewing shaken up. Rodman was back and stepped away. I think Ewing expected some contact. The steal leading to the drive and the stuff. And Ewing hearing it from the crowd as he hobbles his way back to the tunnel, headed to the Knicks locker room.
You mentioned Rodman, a good passer. This was a bad one when Patrick Ewing can come up and pick it off that easily. And Patrick has one thing on his mind, take it to the basket, and that should have been a foul on Dennis Rodman on the low bridge as he bent down and hip checked Ewing hard to the floor. Here's the collision. Should have been a foul.
Strong finish by the Knicks, and they're up by 10, 52-42. Patrick Ewing with 14 points, 9 coming in the second quarter. Michael Jordan opened in explosive fashion but cooled off. He has 13 at the half. Coming up in a moment, Bob Costas and the Prudential halftime report.
This is the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential, bringing strength and stability to America's families through insurance, healthcare, real estate, and financial services.
32-point second quarter for the Knicks, and at halftime, they lead the Bulls by 10, 52-42. Back in the studio in Manhattan, along with Julius Erving and Peter Bessie, I'm Bob Costas, and we'll get to them in just a moment. But first, let's talk about another of the top teams in the East, Pat Riley's Miami Heat. After losing today in Charlotte, Miami stands at 45-17. That's a game behind the Knicks in the Atlantic. Miami was rolling along until Alonzo Mourning was sidelined with a foot injury 2 weeks ago. Mourning will be out another 4 weeks. That's the best guess. I spoke to Riley yesterday in Charlotte.
Go out there, play as hard as you can. If you play hard, you're going to play well. And if you play well in this game, you're probably going to win.
You know, in our playbook to start the season, there was one, we have a mission statement that we just talk about and try to, hook onto a theme if we can. Something that is going to have some meaning, and it's to exceed the expectation. Nobody expected us at the beginning of the year to be good or to be a contender.
Uh-oh, Zoe coming up a little limp, and down he goes.
When Zoe went down, it really was devastating because guys were in the state of mind that they have a chance. They have a chance, and I think that's what this is about, but we stayed to that mission, exceed the expectation even more so now because everybody expects it to be over with, and we've worked too hard, we care too much, put too much into this thing to sort of let it go.
MJ between them all! He got every one of them! Yes!
You've lost before, but in my recollection, never like last year's sweep against the Bulls, in that, except for half of one game, you weren't competitive. That must have been tough to take.
There's no doubt about it. It was embarrassing, for a professional basketball team to go into a playoff situation and get rolled. And we got rolled by a team that simply was much better than us and much more prepared than we were. So if you take out of it the fact that another man or another team simply made a better effort than you to go along with their talent, then you can't accept that. And you never let another man make a better effort than you. If their game beats you, and if their talent beats you, then fine. But what they did is they took our heart out of us at that particular time, and we didn't play as hard as we should have played.
Do you refer to that when you reconvene for the next season, or is it history?
Well, we talked about it. I wasn't going to let it just go. We talked about what happened there, and it's happened to a lot of teams. I can remember when I went to New York. The season prior, they got swept out of the playoffs. I showed in the headline of the New York Post, something like, gutless or something like that. They got blown out at the Garden, and you don't ever want to end a season on that note. And when you end a season on that note, you got to bring it back to their attention the next year and say, it just can't be this way.
If you could take your best Laker team, what's the outcome against Chicago?
I think we beat Chicago. I really do, because of one element, Kareem. Yeah, and we had enough talent around the perimeter to be able to match up. I mean, Worthy against Pippen, Magic and Jordan. Scott. You can go on and on. But the one overriding element would have been Kareem, because he simply was. He was the guy. Magic was the force. Cap was the guy. He was unstoppable.
A lot of people believe players don't play as hard as they used to, but you think the reverse is true.
Right, I do. No, I think the 90s player plays harder than any other player in the history of basketball. I really do. You'll see players really giving everything they have to give, and I don't think there's any doubt that, to me, it's like a wives' tale. It's the cynical voice that says they don't. It's the people who really don't know. I mean, I'm in it every night. Every night we're in it, it's a war. Maybe we bring out the best in other teams because they know we're going to play hard. But we get everybody's best effort every night, period.
So when you see so many games that are 85-80, that may all be part of it, but I guess you're saying the main part is more challenge shots, right. More guys just in your face on defense.
People, I mean, take a look at it. Everybody says, well, why has, it's simple. You don't have to analyze it. People aren't going to let you shoot uncontested shots anymore. There was an old theory back in the early 80s. I mean, when you set up a game plan, it was set up this way. Who are we going to let shoot the ball tonight? Let him shoot it. Don't let him shoot it. That ain't the way anymore. Everybody sees the visual of a Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, kissing championship trophies. They want that. They want it. And teams are getting after it better than they ever have. And I think the commissioner should be proud of that.
Well, just about anybody would be proud of the job Riley has been doing as both a coach and an executive, but for the time being, he's doing it without Alonzo Mourning with the injured foot. Mourning could be out for another month. Right now, 3 of the top 5 centers in the NBA are on the shelf. Shaquille O'Neal has missed 11 Laker games with a knee injury. They're 4-7 in that time. They expect him back in time for the playoffs. And, of course, David Robinson in San Antonio has missed virtually the whole season. It started as a foot injury. Now he's developed back problems. He probably could come back and play if anything was at stake, but there's some thought that he should just rest and sit out the rest of a lost season for San Antonio. Okay, now let's go back to Pat Riley. Simple question, Doc. At a time when everybody says it's a players' league, why do players listen to Pat?
They have to, Bob. Riley's credibility comes from him having played championship caliber ball as well as having coached championship caliber ball. He knows the sacrifices that are necessary to get there. He honestly believes in each and everything that he says to players. He was a star player in college. He was a role player in the pros. So his honesty gets transferred to them, and most of the guys who play for him just have to believe in him.
Peter.
I'll give you another reason. He doesn't hesitate to make superstars play team basketball. Coming off that sweep by the Bulls last season, Riley talked about it. They report to training camp. Every practice from the beginning of camp, he stops play every time Mourning doesn't make the right pass. They come down court, Mourning makes the wrong pass, Riley stops practice. No. This went on for a month. Ed Pinckney told me about it. He said the players loved it because they knew it was wrong. If they were coaching the team, they would have stopped the practice because it was going to pay off later down the road. So that's another reason.
Okay, when we come back, we'll run through the NBA scoreboard and talk about the first half of the Bulls and Knicks. But first, a message from Prudential, and as always, a word from the NBA. Okay, as promised, let's quickly run through the NBA scores. Charlotte beat Miami 82-76, 21 for Glenn Rice. Tim Hardaway had 31 for Miami. The Heat almost overcame a 28-point deficit. Phoenix got 31 from Wesley Person and blew out Orlando 121-85. Portland won its 6th in a row, beating Seattle by 10. Isaiah Ryder led the Blazers with 25. Gary Trent added 23, 14 of them in the fourth quarter. Gary Payton had a triple-double for the Sonics. Utah won its 5th straight, beating the T-Wolves. Karl Malone with 36 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists as he passed 25,000 points for his career. Houston won for the 9th time in 11 games, even without Charles Barkley and Clyde Drexler. Kevin Willis had 19 points and 10 boards. The Mavs have lost 7 straight. Atlanta opened the game on a 19-0 run, and they were never challenged, beating the Celtics by 24. Philly with a rare road win, winning at Washington. Derek Coleman, 20 points and 18 rebounds in that game. And Toronto lays claim to the best team in Canada, at least for today and probably for the season, all things considered. They snap a 5-game losing streak by beating the Grizzlies, who have now lost 9 straight. Now let's talk about the first half of the Bulls and the Knicks. New York leads it 52-42. Ewing has 14. Jordan has 13.
Well, you know, in just looking at this game, it looks like New York's rhythm and composure has allowed them to control the flow of the game. Conversely, you look at Chicago, they seem to be out of sync. I can't remember Dennis Rodman having so many rebounds gained and then lost, two turnovers. So the appeal at halftime for Phil Jackson is probably to tell Michael to put on the Superman uniform or to start a different lineup. Either way, I think it's going to be a New York night.
Peter.
The beauty of the Knicks this season is that they've been built on balance, especially the last month. Now, tonight, they haven't had to overly rely on Ewing. He's got his 14, but Starks is there with 11, and 4 other guys have 5 or more points. Ward is a big surprise with 7. On the other hand, Jordan felt compelled to dominate the offense coming into this. He made his first 4 shots, but he only has 13 points. And he's got to go up against 4 defenders. The Knicks are throwing 4 different guys at him.
Real quick, don't have time to look at the play itself. Rodman is widely considered to be the dirtiest player in the NBA. Well, now actually we will take a look at it. Right at the end of the half, was this a dirty play? Pete first, Dr. J second.
I think it was definitely a dirty play. Dennis, one of the worst plays in basketball. When somebody's up in the air like that, you submarine them. Either take the charge or get out of the guy's way, and I think it was intentional.
I think it was a travel first. I think he got over there to take the charge, and then he turned his shoulder away. I don't think he was trying to hurt him.
All right, halftime in New York. The Knicks lead by 10. We'll send it back for the second half after these messages from your local station. Enjoy the rest of the game, everybody.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential, bringing strength and stability to America's families through insurance, healthcare, real estate, and financial services.
Patrick Ewing, the high man for the Knicks in the first half, hit a couple early and did not get it to the offense to midway through the second quarter, and he took over.
Well, these are a couple of his early hoops, but then when he came back off the bench, he wanted the basketball. There's a perfect pass from Chris Childs, and then the steal, and then right at Dennis Rodman. And should have been a three-point play opportunity as Patrick making all 5 of his attempts. A very productive and efficient first half for Patrick.
And 9 of his 14 came in the second quarter. Let's check in with Ahmad.
All right, Marv, I told you before the game how fired up both these teams were. I talked to Patrick Ewing at halftime. He said that he just had a bruise on his back a little bit, but it'd have to take more than that to keep him out of a game like this. Marv?
All right, Ahmad, yes, Patrick Ewing also taking a fall right at the end of the first half on that drive off the steal from the errant pass thrown by Dennis Rodman. Third quarter underway. The Knicks have a 10-point lead. They've led by as many as 13. Larry Johnson tried to save it, stepped out, and the ball back to Chicago. Phil Jackson opening with Michael Jordan and Ron Harper in the backcourt. Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, and Luke Longley up front. Longley playing with 3 fouls. Pippen for Longley. And Oakley with the rebound. The Bulls shot only 44% in the first half. The Knicks at 54% on 19 of 35 from the field.
Boy, Larry Johnson getting the ball at the top, not even looking at the basket, trying to be a passer as Oakley gets one from the deep left corner. But it's obvious the Bulls have to get other people involved offensively, not just Michael Jordan. Scottie Pippen came out and got the first shot. He's going to have to pick it up offensively in this third quarter.
And Hugh Evans with the call. Offensive foul. Foul committed by Harper. That is his first. In a very quiet game for Ron Harper, who has not attempted a shot. In particular with Tony Kukoc out due to the injury, out with a sprained arch in his right foot. The Bulls need offense from others.
Now, Ron Harper's just not the same player that he was last year. He had off-season surgery. He's not as quick or as lateral as he was defensively, and not much of an offensive threat as Patrick Ewing keeps it going with his 6th field goal.
Ewing on fire. He is 6 of 6 from the field. And the Knicks have opened up a 14-point lead. It is their biggest of the game. Longley lost it on the double team. Childs pushing down. Ewing had it knocked away by Harper. It will be Nick Ball. They have 14 on the 24.
There's Patrick Ewing being given some ground by Luke Longley, who has the 3 personal fouls. And Luke knows that Patrick can take him off the dribble. Dared him to take the jumper, and he put it right in his eye.
The Knicks come in with 6 straight wins, 7 in their last 8, 17 of the last 20, and have been on a roll since the All-Star break. Johnson kept it alive, and Oakley converts. The Knicks lead is now 16. The crowd reacting to the Knicks play. A 16-point lead on the Bulls. And a foul called on Johnson. That is his second.
Well, these are the kinds of plays that Chicago usually makes because of their quickness and athletic ability. Just active to loose balls. But this time it was Larry Johnson just knocking it off the one-hand attempt by Scottie Pippen right to his teammate Charles Oakley.
Chicago with 4 straight wins coming in, 11 of the last 12. Nolan Fine looking for help from the outside official, and Hugh Evans says last touch by the Bulls. In that stretch of 11 wins, the last 12, the only loss, the surprising defeat to the Cleveland Cavaliers. 6 of the Bulls' 7 defeats have come on the road. The lone home defeat against Miami, and a foul is called. It is on Jordan. That is his first.
Michael right now realizes the Chicago offense is dead. Nothing is happening. He realizes the only way the Bulls can get something going is with their defense. Create some turnovers, create some misses, and go out and get some easy baskets because the half-court offense just isn't there.
And this time, foul called on a block on Rodman.
Well, here's Michael's shot chart in the first half. He made his first 4 field goals, but then going 1 for 9, so all jump shots. And to show you how hard the Knicks have been playing and how much more aggressive, they have gotten to the free throw line 16 times to just 9 for Chicago. So Michael has to start going to the hole.
And Ewing got bottled up. Foul is called. Another Chicago foul. It's on Harper, who came over to help. The Bulls with their 3rd team foul.
Well, so far, Phil Jackson just sitting back, hoping his team can find their way out of it. But it's clear that the sense of urgency is on the part of the Knicks. Not only because they're playing the world champions, the Chicago Bulls, and all the excitement, but also, more importantly, they want to hold on, the Knicks do, to that 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference and hold their own with the Detroit Pistons and the Miami Heat.
And coming into today, the Knicks 46 and 16. Miami now 45 and 17. And Detroit a half game back. They're resetting the clock. Earlier today, Charlotte defeated Miami 82 to 76. How about the Hornets? They've won 10 of the last 11 games. Detroit beating the Los Angeles Clippers last night. Chicago at 53 and 7. If they can come from behind and win here today, they would go 54 and 7, which would match last season's remarkable run. But not able to get anything going offensively here in the 3rd quarter. Jordan now 5 of 14. Here's Jordan again. Rebounded by Longley. And the foul. Foul committed by Houston.
Well, this tape will not be an instructional one on how to run the triangle offense. There's a forced shot by Michael Jordan, who uncharacteristically passed up an open Ron Harper. Ron showed his disgust on the play, but while the Bulls are missing, this is how they can find what you might call easy baskets. It's hard work to get second shots, but Dennis Rodman doing it most of the time. Luke Longley doing it there.
The Knicks lead is now 13, and some pressure being shown by Chicago. The Knicks are forced to take a timeout. 22nd timeout. Jeff Van Gundy not pleased about the reaction to the pressure. Larry Johnson had difficulty inbounding. Well, we mentioned earlier that today the 1-year anniversary to the day of Jeff Van Gundy's first win as head coach of the Knicks. It's only his 2nd game as head man, and led the Knicks to a blowout of the Bulls here at the Garden. Patrick Ewing 26 points in that game with 14 rebounds. The Knicks with a 104-72 win.
There's Jeff Van Gundy with his Goodfellows collar on.
Are we taking a shot at the apparel of the Knicks head coach?
It was fun talking to Jeff yesterday about what this 1 year has been like for him. He had no idea what he was going to be involved in, and realizes he's made some mistakes, but he's sure he's done an outstanding job with New York.
The tip by Oakley. 11 points for Oakley, and the Knicks lead 60-45. Longley. Jordan sweeping for the rebound, setting up Pippen for 3. And a loose ball foul is called. It's on Rodman. That is his 3rd.
And right now, just New York is much more aggressive, much more active against a good rebounding team. And you just see the feet planted on the floor, the Chicago Bulls reaching for balls instead of going after them. And the Knicks just out hustling Chicago right now.
Allen Houston for three. Rodman's 11th rebound. Houston going chest to chest with Jordan, who's only one of his last 11. Knicks handled him well. Hopper for three. And a loose ball foul on the Knicks. Push out is called. It is on Ewing. That is his second. And for the Knicks, their third team foul. For the Chicago Bulls, this is game one of a 4-game road trip. They move on to Boston Tuesday and play at Philadelphia, at New Jersey. Timeout is called with 5 minutes gone by in the third. Well, at the GE building, the New York Rangers going through one of their early practices. That's a joke, Matt.
Thank you.
We were talking earlier about the significance of today's game. Matchup of the teams with the best records in the NBA. And we talked about that with John Starks.
I think it's more important to us than to them. You know, we have to be realistic about things. No one's going to catch them as far as getting the best record in the NBA. Our goal is to come in and win and stay ahead of Miami.
Well, you know, the Bulls, every team comes at them very, very hard, no matter who it is, as Luke Longley and Dennis Rodman playing volleyball in there, keeping it alive. So they're used to all the hype surrounding their entrance to a town. But I think the Chicago Bulls would tell you it is special when they come here to Madison Square Garden. This is one of the true rivalries, as Dennis Rodman and Charles Oakley discussing where they may dine after the game.
It will not be together.
No.
Dennis Rodman to the free throw line. He's now 3 of 3 at the line. Oakley called on the foul, his third. The Bulls having their difficulties here in the third quarter. Only 1 of 8 from the field, and they're trailing by 14.
And this is when the Bulls normally turn up the defensive pressure with a full court trap after a made free throw. And here it is. They're going to try a little 3-quarter just to break the rhythm and timing in New York.
And the Knicks have had difficulty with pressure. Toronto Raptors very successful against the Knicks with a trap earlier last week. Trick Ewing. 7 of 9, 18 points.
And Larry Johnson did a nice job of breaking the trap, getting the ball in the middle, keeping his poise, and finding the open Ewing.
Pippen, played by Johnson and played well. Shot clock at 4. And the foul on Johnson. That's his third.
It just doesn't look like Larry Johnson should be able to get out on a quick player like Scottie Pippen, as he does. But he wisely sends Scottie to his left, where he's less effective. He can still go there. And then in an effort to block the shot, which he probably didn't need to do, but that's just a natural reaction after a good defensive play till that point.
And Scottie Pippen, 1 of 3 at the free throw line. He's been hot recently from the field. The last 9 games, averaging 26 a game, shooting just under 60%, but has not been able to get it going this evening. The Knicks 62 and the Bulls 47. Again, pressure. Jordan moving up on Houston, and Childs able to get it across. Just under 6 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Ewing, oh, he took a hit. Took the bump. As he was going into the spin move, foul committed by Longley. That's 4 on Luke Longley.
Luke Longley has really trimmed down. I understand it. At one point, coming into this season, 18% body fat. It is now down to 12%. That's an amazing drop, and it shows in his body. Larry
Johnson, beautiful move. 7 points for Johnson. The Knicks lead by 17. Here's Pippen. He saw the opening. Yes, and it counts. Scottie Pippen will go to the line.
Larry Johnson used to post up all the time when he was with the Charlotte Hornets, and you used to have to come and double team. That was a strong, assertive move towards the basket. This time, Pippen able to go around Larry Johnson because he caught the ball on the move and had some momentum going forward, which has been a rare play for Chicago this evening. But Scotty starting to pick it up a little bit in the scoring area, but normally a good rebounder and assist man. Just 1 rebound and 2 assists in about 26 minutes.
The Knicks lead is now 14. Childs setting up against Harper. Shot clock at 4. Ewing. Oh, Oakley batting it away from Longley and was able to deflect it out. Last touch by Harper, and the crowd reacts to the hustle of Charles Oakley.
And Phil Jackson can't believe this call, as Charles Oakley, as he does so well, gets down to the floor to try to corral the basket. And why the Knicks get the ball, I don't know.
Well, Phil also, I would think, felt that Oakley should have been called for the foul on Longley. Nice play by Childs to set it up for Ewing. The Knicks by 16. Chris Childs with his 6th assist. Just under 5 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. Jordan, Michael Jordan, who has not had the touch tonight. 15 points in all for Jordan. 66-52, New York. Pass intended for Oakley. Jordan putting moves on Houston. And then hits. Beautiful series of fakes by Jordan. And the Knicks lead is down to 12.
Now, Michael can't wait around any longer for his teammates to get something going. He has to make it happen, especially at the offensive end, but he's certainly capable of making it happen also at the defensive end.
Childs all the way. That's his first field goal. Knicks 68 and the Bulls 54. Well, at one stretch, Jordan had hit only 1 of 11, showing some signs here. This time gives it up to Longley. And you could see the reaction of Jordan off that missed shot by Longley. He may not be giving it up so frequently. Oakley wide open. Rodman rebounds. Bulls beginning to pick it up offensively. Jordan off the fake. Rebound Harper. And he'll go to the line.
Coming out in the start of the 3rd quarter, looked like other Bulls were trying to get involved. Not happening. Michael has to take it on his own now and start being more offensive-minded for himself. This time on the semi-break, just waiting to get Allen Houston off his feet. Nothing special that Allen Houston or the Knicks have been doing to Michael. It's just that he has been playing around in the triangle offense to let other players get involved, because he knows he can't go out and score 35, 45, 50 points just anytime he wants to press the button. Other players have to get involved, and this really points out the absence of Tony Kukoc, just that one extra player who can make things happen for himself and for everybody else.
Kukoc has had some outstanding games against the Knicks, but usually they have been in Chicago. But the Bulls would love to see Tony back in the lineup out with that injured right foot. Knicks lead is now 12. They've led by as many as 17. John Starks back on the floor with Charlie Ward. The Knicks front line remains the same. Good pressure here by the Bulls, and Ewing is fouled. That's 5 on Longley. So Patrick Ewing to the line. Well, each week on NBA.com, the official website of the NBA, you can participate in a live chat session with an NBA player. This week, the featured guest is reigning NBA Player of the Month and All-Star Game MVP Glenn Rice of the Charlotte Hornets. He has been red hot. Glenn will pay a visit to cyberspace tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, answering questions from fans around the world. You can visit the online world of the NBA, NBA.com. So Longley sitting down. 7 points. Only 2 rebounds in his 20 minutes, 5 fouls. Replaced by Bill Wennington. The Knicks 70 and the Bulls 56. Ewing has 22 to lead the Knicks. It was John Starks off the bench to ignite the Knicks in the second quarter. And then Patrick Ewing carried the offense the rest of the quarter. Pippen putting moves on Oakley. Pops it out to Harper for 3. Rebounded by Pippen. Backing his way on Johnson. Try to go glass. And Ward came up with that loose ball. Has a 3-on-1. Picked off by Harper. Fires it down. Jordan with Ewing back. Jordan around Ewing. Oh, what a move. And the foul. And that could get the Bulls going. A sensational move by Michael Jordan, who will be headed to the line. 2:21 left in the third. Knicks take the timeout. Ewing stepped away, and then Ward came over to make the contact.
Well, actually, Dennis Rodman forced that turnover from behind on Charlie Ward, and Patrick Ewing really out of his element in that situation, trying to play Michael Jordan one-on-one, open floor, no contest. Well, actually, Michael made his first 4 shots of the game against Allen Houston, scored 13 in the first half, and then was quiet for about the first 8 minutes of this third quarter, and then starting to pick it up very nicely now. Open floor against Patrick Ewing, and an opportunity for a 3-point play. He torched Houston early in that first quarter for 11 of his points. Actually, Larry Johnson has even had him a couple of times. So he had 4 against Chris Childs, who also plays him very physically.
3-point play completed by Jordan. And the Knicks, who led by 17, now lead by 11. Bulls continuing with the pressure defense. Randy Brown has come on, defending against Charlie Ward. Coming up on 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Starks. Rebounded by Houston. Rather by Ewing, and he's fouled by Wennington. So Patrick Ewing going to the finger roll and draws the foul. Wennington with his 3rd, and Ewing to the line. 6 of 8 at the line.
Well, the Bulls get so little out of their 2-2-1 trap after free throws, which used to be a staple for them back in the early 90s when Horace Grant was a member of this team, as he would play that man out of bounds, come over and quickly trap in the backcourt and really apply a lot of pressure, get deflections, which would enable guys like Jordan and Pippen to get a lot of steals. Dennis Rodman is not that type of player, and they really don't have anybody else that can do that. So they just do not have that effectiveness of trapping after free throws that they used to.
Pippen. Beautiful move as he turned Oakley around, and that's number 4 on Charles Oakley. Oakley with 11 points, 10 rebounds, 5 offensive rebounds, but he just right here picked up number 4.
And Jeff Van Gundy vehemently disagrees with this call by Nolan Fine. He felt that Scottie Pippen just banged in to Oakley to draw the contact, which is what good offensive players do, but Jeff Van Gundy doesn't think so.
And Oakley sits down, and here's the applause, replaced by Buck Williams. Buck Williams did a good job in his 11 minutes in the first half. Buck Williams playing with a ruptured tendon in his right middle finger. The injury will still take some time to heal. He's been going with the left hand quite a bit as a result. And a bad pass. Larry Johnson turns it over. 10-point Knick lead. 1:40 left in the third. Wennington up at the high post. Here's Pippen for 3. Oh, the rebound is put home by Michael Jordan with 22, and Michael looking to do it in a variety of ways with the jump shot not going down.
And the defensive intensity will pick up right now with Randy Brown, who can apply 90-foot pressure.
Jordan with the steal. Knicks get back, and Jordan took a bump from Ward. Knicks over the foul limit, so Jordan will go to the line.
Now, Michael has tried every which way to get his team going and get himself going in this third quarter. Hit the jumper, hit the open floor plays, this time overpowering and outsizing John Starks inside for the putback.
Michael, 84% free throw shooter, averaging 30.7 to lead the NBA. Here's Allen Houston checking back in. A reminder, tomorrow, a special NBC Monday, starting with all new episodes of Foxworthy and Mr. Rhodes, plus a special Monday, Frasier, Men Behaving Badly, and Dateline NBC. That's NBC Monday. That's tomorrow right here on NBC.
And Jeff Van Gundy, sensing that the Bulls defense picking up right now, has gone with a small lineup and a ball handling one. Larry Johnson at the so-called big forward spot right now is a good ball handler there. And he'll be able to handle it some against Dennis Rodman out on the perimeter.
Nick lead is down to 7 as we approach 1 minute remaining in the third quarter. Marv Albert, Matt Dukas, and Ahmad Rashad from Madison Square Garden. The ball back to the Bulls as the Knicks have hit a low.
And Allen Houston, every shot, every jump shot seems to be hitting the front rim for him, which is an indication that he's either tired or is just not getting his legs into the shot.
Allen Houston, 2 of 8 from the field. Here's Jordan slicing his way and fouled by Johnson. Chicago in the midst of an 8-1 run.
Michael meaning business here as he's able to slice right between Buck Williams and John Starks. Tongue out means he's thinking throwdown if he can get there. But Larry Johnson with a good hard foul to keep Michael from getting into a layup or dunk mode.
Jordan now 6 of 7 at the line. Larry Johnson sitting down. Patrick Ewing back. Here is Bill Wennington for Jason Caffey. So Phil Jackson doing some shuffling.
Now Phil very much concerned that Jason Caffey, although strong at 6'8", not nearly strong enough to keep Patrick Ewing from doing any damage in the post.
So the Bulls chipping away. What once was a 17-point Knick lead is now down to 5. We're in the closing minute, third quarter. Ewing, the shot clock running down. Oh, Rodman and Williams having words and bumping each other as they head down court, and a double technical call or double foul. Let's see. Oh, they were pumping each other pretty good. Apparently a double foul.
Well, 2 tough rebounders in there going at it, and then the talking on both parts, and the arm swinging and pushing, and the official Scott Foster wisely blowing the whistle to stop anything right there.
And Phil Jackson deciding it's a good time to take Dennis Rodman off the floor, calm things down. Dennis Rodman, 13 rebounds, 5 points. The Bulls in the midst of a 10-1 run. We're down to 10 seconds in the quarter. Here's Jordan, rejected by Buck Williams. And Buck running the floor, but Ward goes all the way, and he's fouled. He was hammered by Brown.
Now Michael Jordan getting into the lane, looking for a shot or looking to get fouled. Couldn't find a body to bump into. Was Buck Williams coming out of nowhere, and a clean block as he starts the fast break for the Knicks.
And that's the first block in the game for either side. Charlie Ward giving the Knicks a 72-66 lead. 5 seconds to go in the third. Crowd reacting to the block by Buck Williams, shown on the big video screen above. Bulls have to push it down in a hurry. Final seconds of the quarter. Here's Pippen from deep. After 3, the Bulls able to turn it. They are within 6. They conclude the third quarter with a 10-2 run. Michael Jordan picking it up, 25 points. Patrick Ewing leading the Knicks with 23. We'll be back after these words from your local station. Penny is 17, now lead by 6. Remember back the earlier game in Chicago in January. Opening minute of the fourth quarter, Chicago led by 17 and then held on to win it by 1. Here's Buck Williams putting the move on Jason Caffey, an air ball. And then Caffey comes up with the rebound. Michael Jordan. And Steve Kerr now in the backcourt. Scottie Pippen, Jason Caffey, Bill Wennington up front. And Jordan being guarded by Starks. Wennington with the pick. And Ewing jumps out to help. Here's Wennington. Dumped it off. Shot clock at 4. Jordan. Michael Jordan. Check in with Ahmad for more on Michael Jordan. Ahmad?
All right, Marv, doing the quarter change. It's normally a time at the beginning of the fourth quarter when Michael Jordan sits out to get a little breather, but he told the coaches that he is ready and wants to stay in the game. As you can see, he's there. Marv?
Well, he is feeling it. Made the turn late third quarter. Buck Williams fouled. Good look from Charlie Ward. The Knicks lead is now just 4, 72-68. Jordan called for the foul, his second. And Williams headed to the line. Chris Childs checks back in, replacing Charlie Ward. Ward with 8 points. Buck Williams just a 60% free throw shooter.
A big reason why the Bulls turned things around, especially late in that third quarter, was free throws. Going to the line 15 times, making 12 to just 4 for 6 to New York, where the Knicks were the more aggressive team in the first half, having the free throw edge. But when the jump shot is not going, you have to take the ball to the basket, look for contact.
The Knicks lead is now 6. Childs greeting Kerr in the backcourt. Again, Ewing coming over to help. Here's Pippen for 3. And Starks gets to it. Jordan back. Starks for Williams. Oh, and Buck Williams sent flying. The basket counts. And the foul. Buck looking a little woozy.
Well, the Knicks have been the better fast-breaking team in this game, as John Starks finds Buck Williams going hard in on that side, and Jason Caffey unable to do much about it. Make sure he got some body, but not before Buck could get his arms up and make that shot. You don't want to give up a three-point play opportunity there. You want to try to get the player with his arms down below shoulder level so he can't get that shot up, but Jason Caffey just slow to react.
Ewing with the rebound and the bucket and the foul. Well, Wennington called for the foul. This now a potential 5-point play for the Knicks.
Well, Buck is a struggling free throw shooter. You have to anticipate miss, even if it's the best free throw shooter in the league. But Bill Wennington just got shoved underneath the basket by Patrick Ewing, unable to rebound when your head is behind the backboard.
Ewing completing the three-point play, and the Knicks lead is now 11. So 5 fouls on Longley, who's sitting down, 4 on Wennington, who came on for Longley. A chant of defense. Buck Williams jumping out to help. Wennington, yes. In this fourth quarter, the Knicks doubling up on Jordan and have done an effective job. They forced him to give up the ball.
Well, they're making him go so wide, and by the time Michael can clear himself, there are open players there. He just is seeing them late. He found Wennington on time.
Starks, rebounded by Rodman. Big lead is 9. We're early in the fourth. Rodman open. It's a goaltend. The basket will count. Good look by Jordan. And the goaltend called on Ewing.
Now Michael coming up, surveying the floor, seeing what he has. Saw Buck Williams out of position. Rodman always around the basket. And Patrick Ewing in between two players. Gets over to Rodman too late, and the goaltend.
I always enjoy those musical interludes over your recaps, man. The Knicks with a 79-72 lead. Patrick Ewing extends to an 81-72 advantage. 28 points for Ewing. Now Jordan rubbing off Starks. By Childs trying to help out. And the foul called on Starks, his second. Now a timeout is being called. Oh, I hear your music again, Matt.
Here's that little pick and pop play. The Bulls sending it to the baseline. Patrick Ewing finding that little open seam right in his range for the jump shot, and the Bulls reacting too slow.
Of the NBA at 50.
Today we look back at Michael Jordan's return to the Garden after his year-and-a-half hiatus, and only his 5th game back. Jordan exploded for 55 points. He hit 21 for 37 from the floor, but in the end it was not his scoring. It was this pass to Bill Wennington that won the game. The Bulls 113-111 over the Knicks. In recognition of this classic moment, Miller Beer will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. Michael Jordan, in his 12th NBA season out of North Carolina, earlier in the year won over 25,000 career points. He accomplished that faster than any player aside from Wilt Chamberlain. And intent on leading the Bulls back here, although he went through a stretch at one point, hit only 1 of 11 from the field. Got off to the fast start, slowed down, but he's picked it up. And he's gone away from the jump shot in the second half. Putting moves on Starks. And it's fielded by Starks. 3 minutes have gone by in the fourth quarter. The Knicks with a 9-point lead on Chicago.
Well, Michael a little upset with himself, but you got to give credit to John Starks. Played Michael about as well as you can.
And Childs, who has been working his way back into it, looking a bit rusty at the start, as you might imagine, after sitting out 5 games with a sprained wrist. 83-72 Knicks. Wennington sets the pick. Here's Pippen for 3. Had a number of open looks. Not able to hit. 4 of 14 from the field. Allen Houston all the way. So the Knicks have reacted well to that Chicago burst. And a timeout called by Phil Jackson. Pippen is now 1 of 7 from downtown. The Knicks lead by 13.
You've always loved playing with us.
Official restaurant of the NBA and home of America's favorite fries. Go get 'em. By the car that makes waves, the new Eclipse from Mitsubishi, built for living. And by Miller Genuine Draft, who reminds you it's time for better beer breath.
Now Chicago going to clear the right side for Michael Jordan, and John Starks plays him about as tough as you can, doing the right thing, forcing him to his left, making him take a tough shot. And that is not a good position to be in when Michael Jordan wants to score, and Chris Childs finding a hole in the Chicago defense. And this is what you always worry about when you're playing the Bulls. How are you going to score? Well, the Knicks have found a lot of ways, and it has not been a typical Chicago defensive effort.
4 minutes gone by in the fourth quarter. Ewing with the rebound, had it knocked away, stripped by Rodman. Scottie Pippen is now 4 of 16, trying to shoot his way back into it. And here comes Starks. The Knicks with the ball. They lead by 13. They led by as many as 17. The Bulls with a rush, but the Knicks have been able to turn it on again here in the fourth. Ewing won't count. Foul before the shot attempt. And that's number 6 on Luke Longley.
Phil Jackson was telling us before the game his big concern was Patrick Ewing late in the game. He was hoping that he would not have enough energy. It might not matter because Patrick Ewing has done so much damage in the late second quarter and the third and the early part of the fourth as Luke Longley just not able to stay with Patrick Ewing.
And for the Bulls, only their 6th disqualification on the season. Second time that Longley is fouled out. Ewing receiving a pretty good rest during the second quarter. Jeff Van Gundy making sure that his big man stays on the floor. He's had the energy. Patrick Ewing coming off the season high of 39 Friday night in Boston. And Robert Parrish has checked in for the first time. Here's Starks. So the Knicks open up a 15-point Bulls. 13 for Starks. Jordan with the step going glass. Michael has 29. The Knicks lead 87-74.
And John Starks realized the mistake he made there. He let Michael beat him to his right, where he has had some success forcing him left.
Childs rebounded by Jordan. Starks went for the steal. And Jordan able to recover and hit. And the Knicks want a timeout. The Knicks lead is down to 11 with 6:47 remaining in the fourth quarter.
Sharp execution on side out of bounds. Steve Kerr getting hung up on a pickup high as John Starks catches in rhythm and lets the jumper fly. And then there's that isolation again. Starks does a good job of pushing Michael out, but first step too quick, going to his right, and then Starks going for a steal off the dribble. Not quick enough as Michael gathers himself and drains another jump shot.
Welcome back to Madison Square Garden in New York. 6:47 to go in the fourth quarter. Chicago with 3 timeouts, 3 full and a 20. Knicks have 3 left. Patrick Ewing looking to get the crowd going. Coming into today's game, Chicago with the #1 record in the league at 53-7, followed by the Knicks at 46-16. The Knicks a half game in front of Detroit, and now a full game over Miami. Miami losing earlier to the hot Charlotte Hornets. Here's Ewing spinning. Looked like Rodman got a piece of it. Rodman coming over to help. Michael Jordan putting moves on John Starks. And rebounded by Buck Williams. Houston for 3. Well, Allen Houston on the floor in the fourth quarter, which has not always been the case. John Starks has been the man in the fourth quarter, but Jeff Van Gundy going with Starks and Houston and Childs in a 3-guard setup. Blocking foul on Starks.
As the Knicks coming down on offense, Patrick Ewing coming out high to set a pick for Chris Childs, and he just levels Scottie Pippen, who had his teeth rattled on the play. But you can see Allen Houston on this play. He gathered himself, got his legs into the shot, and drained it. And Allen Houston's in that position where he has to show Jeff Van Gundy a reason why he should play him. And right now I think Jeff feels comfortable with the matchup. Houston on Pippen, who has not been shooting well.
Now he's missed his last 7 shots. Crowd looking for a double dribble. Jordan with the shot clock rolling down. And the foul. Well, the 43-year-old Robert Parrish able to get to that rebound on a box out. And he was hit by Charles Oakley. Well, NBC tonight, all new, all night, starting with an all-new Third Rock. And the return of Boston Common, then the world premiere thriller Murder Live on NBC tonight. Robert Parrish will shoot a pair, playing only his 32nd game of the season. And at the foul line, now only 10 of 18. 21st year in the league. Signed as a free agent back in September. Robert Parrish seeing some playing time because Luke Longley fouled out. Bill Wennington in foul trouble. 5.5 remaining in the fourth quarter. The Knicks 90, the Bulls 78.
I think Phil Jackson would hope that Parrish could play Ewing some one-on-one so they wouldn't leave open shooters like that.
And a loose ball foul against the Bulls. It is number 4 on Rodman. The Bulls over the foul limit.
Scottie Pippen just trying to be aggressive coming down to help Robert Parrish, but it left Childs wide open for the shot. And then Rodman and Oakley, as they've been banging away at each other, along with Buck Williams in there, is a big part of this preparation for the Knicks going against Dennis Rodman. Make sure you keep a body on him.
And there is assistant coach Bill Cartwright, who former New York Knick. In fact, he was involved in the trade for Charles Oakley, and a guy who over the years played Patrick Ewing exceptionally well. He would keep him off the blocks. He wouldn't allow Ewing to get into proper position. Similar situation with Robert Parrish in his younger days as a member of the Boston Celtics, where Ewing would have trouble against Parrish.
Now, Cartwright played Patrick Ewing so physically, and Patrick almost seemed to enjoy it, going back to their days as teammates, as to what they used to do to one another in practice. And Patrick had so much respect for Bill Cartwright that he kind of took it, of course gave it back as well, but it was always a good matchup.
Yes, they had a very friendly relationship going back to their days with the New York Knicks. Foul on Starks, his 4th. And Phil Jackson would like to suit up Cartwright for today's game. Jordan had the baseline closed by Houston. Parrish on the recovery. And Jordan hits, but it will not count. And oh, look out. Rodman and Ewing face to face. Now Rodman already involved earlier with Buck Williams. Patrick Ewing was ushered aside by assistant coach Brendan Malone. They continue the discussion now with Chris Childs between them.
Steve Kerr has the job now. As you know, both Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen both have said, we are not going to babysit him anymore. We're not going to pull him off people. We're not. And you can see Jordan and Pippen are about as far away as you can get, leaving people like Steve Kerr and Parrish to go over and get Rodman away from Patrick Ewing.
A technical foul has been charged to Dennis Rodman. Well, a technical foul on Dennis Rodman, and a loose ball foul on Rodman off that last play. Starks shooting the technical.
Well, here's the banging as Dennis Rodman put the elbow and arm out, which knocked Patrick Ewing down. But Patrick very careful when he came back up to get in the face of Dennis Rodman, that he kept his arms down so he didn't catch himself with a slap or a punch, because Patrick Ewing in control of his emotions. They're very upset, but he knows what that would mean to him and the New York Knicks in this important stretch drive by getting suspended.
The Knicks lead is 13 with 4:57 remaining in the fourth quarter. The Knicks free throw shooting has been very poor. 60%, 18 for 30, make it 18 for 31. Dennis Rodman with rebound number 16. Shot clock down to 8. Here's Jordan with the crossover. Ewing rebounds.
Childs pushing it down. Oakley with the pick. But Jordan able to recover on Childs. Now Ewing played by Rodman. Gets it out to Childs for three. And Jordan colors that rebound.
Well, Childs has had a couple of good looks on good feeds from Patrick Ewing out of double teams, unable to knock the shot down.
Rodman with a nice pass. It counts and the foul. Beautiful shovel feed. Rodman to Parrish, and Parrish goes to the line.
Well, this is what Dennis Rodman can do in the offense. He's a reluctant shooter and scorer, but he realizes that the Bulls have to get some quick scoring here. Able to find Robert Parrish underneath on a beautiful feed.
The Knicks 91 and the Bulls 80. The Bulls able to hang around despite the fact that it has not been an impressive performance. Pushing foul on Pippen. That's 4 on Pippen. Scottie Pippen only 4 of 17. The Bulls not able to hit from three-point range. They've missed 9 of the last 10 from downtown. Michael Jordan has not shot well. It's been a game of streaks for Jordan. 12 of 28 overall. And Allen Houston giving the Knicks a 12-point lead.
Jeff Van Gundy has said many times that he feels comfortable with any of his top 8 coming down at crunch time, but in many cases Allen Houston has not been one of those 8, because Jeff Van Gundy concerned about his offense. However, he likes to have him out on the floor because he's a threat for the jump shot and the three-pointer and on the free throw line.
Now Starks defending against Pippen, and Houston is back on Jordan. Jordan spinning his way, had to lay it off to Kerr, and Kerr tripped up. Both teams are over the foul limit. Childs picks up number 4. Steve Kerr, one of the better free throw shooters in the NBA, 80% this season. He's down a bit. So Steve Kerr to the line for the first time.
Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson having a little bit of a long distance discussion there on what's happening out on the floor, and probably the discussion is what they're going to go to right now defensively. You like to have Steve Kerr out there because he's a three-point threat and can spread the floor for you, because who's ever guarding him has to stay with him, and that's a rare miss for Steve from the free throw line. The all-time leading three-point shooter. His percentage is down a little bit this year. He's usually hovering right around 50%.
And the Bulls for the game at 39% shooting. Michael Jordan has missed his last 3 shots. Scottie Pippen has missed his last 7. The Knicks 93, the Bulls 81. 3.5 remaining in the 4th. Here's Starks. He beat Parrish. Ewing with the save. And the Knicks regroup. Starks for 3. Kerr pulls it up. Now Pippen backing. Illegal defense against the Knicks. And that is their 2nd violation, a technical foul awarded Chicago. The Bulls have won the last 2, 7 of the last 9 over the Knicks. Here in New York, Knicks have won 6 of the last 8 regular season games.
Jeff Van Gundy talking to his team about, let's run a little offense, use some clock, let's investigate what we can off some baseline screens, and then put the ball inside. On that last possession, John Starks was looking for the knockout punch on the three-point shot.
That collar looking worse and worse. What you're saying? Jeff Van Gundy might as well put the tie in the back of the suit.
Knicks lead 93-82 with 2:45 remaining in the fourth quarter. Here is Jordan. Rebound, Rodman. Dennis Rodman with his third field goal. He has 9 points, 18 rebounds, and the Knicks lead is down 9. Childs. And he stepped out of bounds.
Now Michael Jordan trying to do it with the jump shot, with the three-pointer. Dennis Rodman, nobody puts a body on him as it comes right to him. And when you go to the basket as much as he does, you're going to get some easy ones. He certainly has to work hard for a lot, but that one he did. That came right to him.
Yeah, the chant of defense. Here's Kerr for three. Yes! And the Bulls allowed to hang around have cut it to 6 with 2 minutes, 2 seconds to go. In the fourth quarter, the Knicks take a timeout.
Noon Eastern on the NBA on NBC Game of the Week. All-star Tim Hardaway leads Pat Riley's Miami Heat as they host Akeem Olajuwon and the Houston Rockets. Or a battle for Big Apple bragging rights as Ewing and the Knicks face the Nets. Tip-off time is 12 noon Eastern, next Sunday on NBC.
A reminder tonight here on NBC, an all-new Third Rock and the return of Boston Common. And then the world premiere thriller Murder Live right here on NBC tonight. It is a 6-point Knicks lead. They led by as many as 17. The Bulls have been beaten only 7 times this season. 6 of the 7 on the road. The 1 loss at home to Miami on December 7th. The other losses, Utah, Toronto, Atlanta, Houston, the Lakers, and Cleveland. 73-70 in Cleveland. That's the only loss the last couple of weeks. Bulls have won 11 of the last 12. Chicago in the midst of a 7-0 run. They were trailing 93-80. Childs splitting his way through. Coming up short, and Kerr with the rebound. And Steve Kerr has been a major factor in this comeback.
He has hit the big shots, and he's also done a decent job defensively. You would expect the Bulls to make a run, and they have been in this game taking on the tinge of the game a couple of weeks ago, New York at Los Angeles, when it appeared the Knicks had it comfortably sewn up, but then couldn't get anything going offensively down the stretch of the fourth quarter. Missed their free throws and had to go to double overtime to finally win it.
Michael Jordan just 12 of 29. He has 32 points. 4 of 17 is really hurt because Jordan looking for the open man, and often it's been Scottie Pippen, but he has not been able to convert in particular from three-point range. And Robert Parrish contributing at the foul line, out 3 of 4 at the line, 5 points in all. Parrish fouled by Starks. It's down to 5. It is a 4-point Knicks lead with 1.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Here's pressure by Chicago. Well, the chief, Robert Parrish, 6 points in 6 minutes. Pippen all over Childs. Oakley setting the pick. Here's Ewing. Parrish digging in. Shot clock at 7. Here's Ewing with the spin. Big bucket. Knicks lead 95-89. And Phil Jackson calls for time. 30 points for Patrick Ewing. 1:11 left in the fourth.
A big reason why the Knicks have won 6 in a row and 7 of 8. This man, Patrick Ewing, has been the go-to man and the finisher down the stretch. And Robert Parrish, left alone to try to play Ewing one-on-one, forced him to take a little bit of a tough shot, but Patrick able to nail it.
And for Ewing, his 3rd straight 30-point ball game. Michael Jordan has played 45 minutes here this evening. Timeout rundown. Chicago 2-20. Knicks have 2 full timeouts remaining. Both teams are over the foul limit. The Knicks 95 of the Bulls 89. And the Bulls within range despite the fact that their 2 star players, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, have not shot well. Pippen is 4 of 17. Jordan 12 for 29. Jordan leading the Bulls with 32 points. Dennis Rodman has 18 rebounds, matching his total of the other night against Indiana. While the Knicks, led by Ewing, who has 30 points, 14 rebounds. And the Knicks getting balanced scoring, 13 for Starks. Oakley and Houston each have 12.
Well, in the Bulls' last loss against the Cleveland Cavaliers, as Mike Saunders, the trainer of the New York Knicks, coming out to no doubt clean up some blood out of the floor with the gloves on. But in that Cleveland game, both Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan not shooting the ball well and not getting much from their teammates. Pretty much the case here, even though Michael, with those 32 points, 12 for 29, nowhere near what Michael Jordan expects from himself from the field.
Rodman will throw in at midcourt. The Knicks with a 6-point lead, a minute 10 remaining in the fourth. Jordan with the step, going glass. 95-91, the Knicks lead is down to 4. And here's pressure. Kerr all over Starks. Both clubs are over the foul limit. So the Bulls desperately want to stop here. We're down to 50 seconds. 10 on the shot clock. Oh, a bad pass thrown by Childs. Too much on it.
Well, and he whipped it from like his left hip, where across his body. So Patrick Ewing never saw it coming. And by the time he got his hands up, too hot to handle.
Down to 45 seconds. Chicago with the ball trailing by 4. The Knicks have led by as many as 17. Pippen trying to find Jordan. Jordan guarded by Houston. Oakley over to help. Jordan with the left hand to set it up. It's down to 2. Michael Jordan brings the Bulls within 2. 29 and 2/10 seconds remaining in the fourth, and the Knicks call for time. At 1 point, the Knicks led 93-80 with 3:55 remaining. But this is Michael Jordan's time. First he goes glass from the right side, and then able to set up with the left hand, putting the move on Allen Houston and hitting to cut it to 2. We'll return after these messages from your local station. The Chicago Bulls with a 13-2 run. Michael Jordan with the last 2 field goals. He now has 36 points. The Knicks are down to 1 timeout remaining. Chicago with 2 and a 20. 29 and 2/10 seconds to go. And it will be New York ball.
And the man that wants the ball in this situation is Patrick Ewing. He will usually get his hands on it. The question is, will the Bulls play him one-on-one or double team him and try to force the turnover by knocking the ball out of his hand?
Starks moving on Kerr. Both clubs are over the foul limit. Down to 15 seconds. 10 on the shot clock. Knicks using the clock. And Ewing shot. And Ewing with some words for the Chicago bench. That was a tough angle, and I believe he got a piece of the glass.
He did, and did not call it, but he'll take it. But a smart play there by Patrick Ewing against Robert Parrish. Instead of staying in on the post-up, where it would be congested, maybe a double team, they milked the clock down to about 8 seconds, and when Patrick catches, faces up on Robert Parrish, looking for drive or shot. And this thing just took the side of the backboard and looks over at the bench as assistant coach Frank Hamlin saying, "Are you kidding me?" Off the glass from that angle. Here it is again as Patrick dead flat, and it did on live action certainly catch the side of the glass, and the Bulls bench could see all of that.
Just nicked the glass. from a tough angle from the corner. The Bulls calling for time with 7 7/10 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. And when we resume, it will be Chicago ball down by 4 points. So they need a quick hoop and obviously a steal, or perhaps take a shot at putting the Knicks at the foul line.
And even though it's only 7.7 seconds, you don't necessarily need a three-point shot. The quickest score you can get, and then the steal or foul.
And Chicago, 4 of 16 from three-point range. The Bulls, led by Michael Jordan, 36 points, although it has not been one of his exceptional ball games. A very streaky game for Michael, has played most of the way. Dennis Rodman with 18 rebounds. Scottie Pippen just 4 of 17 from the field. Patrick Ewing, high man for the Knicks with 32. 3 straight 30-plus games along with 14 rebounds. Charles Oakley, 12 points, 10 rebounds. And Allen Houston with 12 points. So the Bulls are facing the prospect of their 8th defeat of the season. That is a very select group, accounting for the 7 wins over Chicago. The Bulls at 53-7, the best record in the NBA. Seven and 7/10 seconds remaining. Fourth quarter, Rodman inbounding. Finding Pippen. And he fires the three, apparently hoping to get a foul call. Here's Rodman backing it up. It's all over. The Knicks have evened the series at 1 apiece with Chicago. 97-93 is the final. That's it from the Garden. Now let's go to Third Rock from the Sun.